Ahoy, mateys. Welcome aboard my podcast. I'm Jason with Jay's Paradise Travels. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. Today's going to be somewhat of a little different. I will be sharing experiences, I guess you could say, but really the focus of today's episode is just some cruise talk. If you've known me by now, I love cruises. I would go on one every month if I had the time and money. I tell that all the time to people. And uh, some episodes, I might just want to talk about cruises themselves. Nothing in a particular uh, vacation or nothing a particular story, just kind of in general. Today's episode is going to focus on talking about cabin staterooms. Something fairly simple, but still be able to discuss some things here during it. I recently sent out a poll in one of my previous podcasts asking how I should go forward with when I talk about my sports podcasts, going to see different stadiums, how I should do it. If you've participated in that poll or if you've given me feedback on it, I appreciate it. Thank you. I definitely am looking forward to seeing what the results will be. I'm still kind of gathering information on that. I was hoping to have enough by this episode that I was going to create it, but I'm going to do this episode instead and still wait on people, hopefully, to continue sending in their feedback, and then I'll have a clear idea of what I want to do going forward with it. I will say right now there is one answer that's taken the lead over the other answer, and we'll see what happens at the end of it. But I definitely appreciate all feedback, so thank you very much. And some of the feedback that I've heard about, and I'll kind of explain one thing here, is on YouTube that no pictures are being shown. And I found out after that, and it was interesting. I wanted to do YouTubes to be able to show pictures and yet not be able to do it. And here's kind of the issue with that. I record on Spotify, and on Spotify, the platform that I use for it does allow me to share pictures. So if you've been listening and viewing it on Spotify, you'd be able to see both, or be able to see the pictures as well as hear me. But when I feed that over to YouTube, it only shares the audio with YouTube. So on YouTube, you probably see just my logo and hear me talking. Never can see any pictures. So I'm going to try something a little different. I'm still uh, getting out the kinks, working out the kinks here, doing the podcast. I'm going to actually try not necessarily recording it on Spotify, but rather just on my computer, and hopefully be able to add pictures afterwards in with editing. Be a first time. We'll see how it works, and then hopefully be able to upload on both. We'll see how it goes. If you are listening and watching this video, yay! Glad that it came across. Okay, if not, I apologize again. Still trying to iron out all the kinks to everything. Anyways, so let's talk about cabin staterooms. Now you think just a cabin stateroom, right? But there's a few different things that can be discussed on it. I don't know if this will be an extremely long episode. Some of the feedback people were asking for maybe a little bit shorter, and not all my episodes are really long. They kind of vary, but this one might not be on the most longest side, but we'll see what happens with it. So when you go on a trip, anywhere you go, you have to stay someplace, right? If you're fortunate enough to have family or friends in a certain destination, you can stay with them, crash on their couch, maybe they have a spare bedroom, whatever. If not, usually there's a hotel, resort. Some hotels, they're nice places to stay overnight. Some are resorts, and I mean, that's the destination in itself. So being able to sleep somewhere overnight as opposed to sleeping outside in the yard, unless you're camping, of course, then there you go, you're out in the wilderness. Camping is not my thing. I will be honest. If you love camping, more power to you. I'm not a camper. I'd rather be inside with a bed, air conditioned, heat, shower, all that type of stuff. A cabin stateroom is nice because while you're on a trip, on a cruise, again, cruises are my specialty. It's the thing I love the most. While you're on a cruise, obviously you want to have some place to lay your head down at night and to be comfortable while you're on your cruise. And there are different types of staterooms that we're going to discuss here. I did want to kind of mention why it's called a stateroom. If you ever wondered that, maybe not, maybe you just said a cabin stateroom, didn't think anything of it. But years ago, they would actually name the rooms after states. You'd have Texas, you'd have Oklahoma, and so on and so forth. Thus, state room. That's how I came up with that. I thought that was kind of interesting when I learned it. Wanted to share it with you as well. So if you hear the term cabin stateroom, that's what we're referring to. Things have changed as time has gone on. This was years ago, And now mostly you're going to have just numbers. And usually the first number is going to be whatever deck you're on. So if you're in, let's say, 2163, this is just a random number. The first number, 2, is going to usually be the deck 2, and then stateroom number 163. And if you're up higher, if you're in 10003, it's on deck 10, stateroom 003. So hopefully you get the idea with that. First number is usually the deck number, and then you've got the stateroom after that. If you were, and the way that it kind of is situated here, I guess you could say, um, just pretend now that you're standing and you're looking towards the front of the ship, and your back is towards the back of the ship. Um, and just to kind of teach you a little bit of ship lingo, the back of the ship is called the aft, 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 and then the front towards the front, just forward. So you got forward and aft, and then from there, on that vantage point, you're going to hear terms like port and starboard. So if you're looking straight forward, port is on your left side, and starboard is on your right side. The way I can remember this, and this is just me, you might have your own way of remembering it. I don't know. This is just how I remember it. Port side, left side, those two words, port and left, both have four letters and they both end with the letter T. That's how my mind works. That's how I can remember that port side is the left side of the ship. Starboard is the right side of the ship. A little bit bigger words, right? And starboard are bigger. They have more letters than left and port. So that's how I remember it. With that in mind, if you're standing there on most decks that have any type of cabins on them. Not all decks have cabins. Some of them are, just activities on whatever deck that might be. Especially the higher up you go, you're gonna have more of the fun stuff, the pools, the decks, and the water slides, and things like that. They're still considered on decks. You may go up and there's just a mini golf course on deck 15, for instance. There's no cabins there. It's just that. Some have a mixture. You might have um, the main deck. You go inside, and then you're still going to have some cabins in there. And then you're going to go down below. Sometimes maybe like the middle of the decks, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. Each ship is going to be different because they're all designed differently and have different sizes. Um, but it'll be just strictly cabins. The entire deck is just all cabins. There's nothing else fun on there, nothing to see. Maybe something like the libraries in the middle, something to that effect. But you're not going to deck 4 and there's all cabins and you're going to find a water slide, things like that. Anyways, so if you're got your back to the aft and you're looking forward, left side is port, right side is starboard. You're going to have two hallways that pretty much go the length of it for the most part. Now, again, some ships are designed a little differently. There might be a break in that, and you know there's an entrance to the outside or something that's cutting it off in the middle, a dining room, whatever it may be. Um, but just let's just say for teaching purposes, there's going to be two hallways that go the length of the ship. And on those hallways, now if you're on port side and you're on the left side, if you're walking down towards the front, on the right side, you're going to have all the interior cabins, all the interior rooms. They're not on the outside part of the ship. They're on the inside of it. They're called interior. And then on the left side, you would have the exterior type of cabins broken down into windows or exterior and balconies. And those are the different ones we're going to discuss. Now, the opposite is going to be true on starboard side, on the right side. If you're walking down, on your left side is going to be all the interior cabins because it's inside the ship. On the outside of it, you're going to have the exterior cabins that include the windows and balconies. Let's start off with the interior. The interior ones on the inside, because they're not on the outside of the ship, they're inside the ship, looking in, I guess you could say. There are no windows in there. It is essentially a big closet with a bathroom. No, I don't say that lightly. Interior is nothing to sneeze at. If some people, everyone's going to have different preferences. Some people don't like interior because they're going to feel claustrophobic. They want to be able to see outside. They want to see the sun. They need to have some sort of uh, light or vision outside. If you're that way, I definitely would encourage you not to go interior. I'm okay with it. Majority of the time, I have been in interior, and here's the reason why. I tell you, there's nothing to sneeze at. First off, it's always going to be the most economical, unless some kind of crazy weird deal comes up that a cruise line needs to sell a balcony or a window, and they mark it down really low to make sure that it gets sold. That's the exception to the rule. The majority of the time, the interior rooms will always be the most economical. You will always save the most money going into those. The reason being is because you don't have a view. Uh, One thing with cruise lines, it's uh, it's kind of like that old real estate agent: location, location, location. They're gonna charge you more for what's going to be more prime location and more prime spots, more prime rooms, however you want to look at that. So, in their minds, and in probably a lot of customers' minds, they're going to think that because there is no view in there, that's not going to be as desirable as the other one, so they're not going to charge us more. It's more economical. That's one of the reasons I like it. Majority of the times I've been on cruises, I have been in interior to be able to save the money. In addition to that, because there are no windows, there is no outside light of any kind. The only light inside there is going to be the lights that you turn on in the cabin, and they may have like a night light or something like that, or but the majority of it's going to be just that. It's going to be dark, and because of that, when you turn off the lights and it's time to go to bed, you're going to have some of the best sleep of your life in an interior room because it is so dark and you have the little bit of sway to the ocean of the ship sailing. It rocks you to sleep. It rocks you to sleep. You're like a baby, and you will be knocked out for a while. Now, what's interesting is that you'll wake up, and because it's so dark, it's gonna seem to you like it's 2 in the morning. Just dead of night. It just seems so late or early in the morning, whatever you want to think of it. And then you look at your clock and, oh, it's 10 o'clock already. Oh, I missed breakfast. That's the kind of sleep that you get in an interior room, because it's so dark, because that's why you sleep so soundly. And, and the darkness of it makes it seem like it's, you know, dead of night when it really isn't. Everything that's in an interior room, you'll see in other things as well. It's amazing the amount of stuff that they will put in an interior room for being as small as they are. I kind of think of an old Seinfeld bit where he had talking about an airplane bathroom and how he was always impressed. He had to go in the airplane bathroom because they fit so much stuff in the airplane bathroom in that little thing, Kleenex, toilet paper, slot for used razor blades. I remember that was kind of funny. They had all that stuff in an airplane bathroom. Well, similar in my mind, with an interior cabin. They have so much stuff in there. You're going to have a bed. Now, depending on your preference, it can be put together and be one king bed, uh, or it can be split apart and you can have two separate beds. It can be one or the other with that. That's if you get in a cabin that's suited for two people. I'll talk about that in a minute. You're also going to have things like a little desk with a mirror, like a little vanity, a little stool to be able to sit down on and that. You're going to have actual closets to be able to hang up your clothes, as well as drawers to be able to, put clothes away. You're going to have usually like a little mini bar of some kind or a little mini refrigerator. The bathroom is going to have, typical things that you'll get in a bathroom. They'll give you soap. And, I think now they'll kind of, I think a lot of hotels are doing this too. In the shower, you'll have the thing that's situated in there, has the body wash, shampoo, conditioner. You'll have that. You'll have like a little line that you can hang stuff to dry in the shower, and then you've got the toilet, the vanity, shelves to put your toiletries on, a trash can. All that's inside of the bathroom. Um, so it's not going to be the most hugest room in the world, that's for sure. It's going to be the smallest. But they do pack a lot of things in there, and there's space underneath the bed where you can put your luggage. So it's pretty nice in that way. Interior rooms, if you can believe this, can fit up to at least 4 people in it. It depends on the layout of it. Certain rooms are going to be laid out differently. If you have just 2 people, let's say, then you can put, as I said, the beds together, and And usually there's even like little nightstands too, if you can believe that. They also had that too. You put the beds together, make one big bed, or you can separate them. Perhaps a married couple obviously would probably want to be joined together, but if you're not a married couple, maybe you're just two friends or whatever, a brother and a sister, they can split those apart, and you can have two separate beds as well. That's a cabin for two. Then you can also get cabins that can host three up to four. And the way they do that is also by splitting the two beds, and then on top, there's little beds that kind of fold down. One might have a stateroom might have one to have three different people. Some might have two. They can fit four people. A rare occasion, you might even have a cabin that could fit five people. So you'd have those four plus like a pull-out sofa. That's not all of them. There's some have those. They're a little bit more rare. They're out there, but they're rare. So you can get at least two people, up to four. Now, depending on how old these people are that you're going to be in there, think really hard about that. If you want to share a room with four people, if they're little kids, they're your little kids. Okay, that's one thing. If they're four grown adults, full-size people, it can get tight. Uh, Usually just me and my wife, and that's just two people. We're tight enough as it is. If we had to add a third or fourth person in there, that's not maybe our child, and we don't even have children, uh, that would be even tighter. So just keep that in mind. Now, for again, economical purposes, if you're looking to save money and you want to split one room three, four different ways, and you feel like, hey, I'm not going to be in the room very often, and that's a lot of people's mentality too. We only go in the room to sleep and take a shower or use the bathroom. We're not in there that often. We're going to be out having fun on the ship. We're going to be out at the ports. I'm not going to be in it. Let's save as much money as we can. Okay, sure. But when it's time to be all in there at the same time, just keep in mind, it can be very tight. If it's in your budget, if you can afford, let's say that you have four people in your party and you can afford two different rooms, it doesn't hurt to have the space, the extra elbow room, because those can be pretty tight. That's an interior room. Stepping up from there, it costs a little bit more. Now we're going to go into the exterior cabins. An exterior cabin is going to have a window a part of it. They're going to be on the outsides. You're not going to be able to go outside, but you are going to have a window that's going to have access to be able to see the sun, the ocean, the sea, whatever this case is. And they're generally going to be maybe on the first couple decks or so. They're not always exactly how some can, but a lot of times they're going to those the other ones are that are all high up are usually balconies. I've heard this asked of me, how low is this? I don't want to be, some people are thinking, am I going to be, going to see fish, are going to be underneath the water? Let me put your minds at ease. No, that is not the case. Even if you are on deck one, you are on the lowest deck when it comes to cabins. You have a lot of decks underneath you. You are still a good 30 to 40 feet above the water, even if you're on the lowest deck. So if that's something that you're worried about, like you're going to be underneath the sea and you see a shark or whale coming at you, that's not the case. They don't put those down there. So you're still pretty high up when it comes to that. Because now you have a view, that means that the cruise lines are going to see that as a little bit more prime location. So they're going to charge you a little bit more again for that. Uh, every now and then you may come across a deal where they're just trying to get rid of it, and they want to they need to sell it, so they're going to lower it to make sure it gets sold. You might come across that. If you do, awesome. I'm always about saving money where possible. But generally, again, that's an exception to the rule. Generally, you are going to pay a little bit more for that view, just like if you were in an apartment in Manhattan, right? The apartment with the view is going to cost more than the apartment without the view. They're going to generally also have the same things as the interior room. Nothing much too extra aside from having um, the window. But they are going to be a little bit bigger too. You're going to get a little bit more square footage, a little bit more space than that. And because of it, actually, I take that back. There is something. Because they usually have a little extra space, sometimes the window, you might also get like a sofa in there as well. They may be able to put a sofa on a little coffee table in addition to everything else that an interior room has. So I guess I should take that back. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it for exterior. And then another step up from that will be the balcony. Balconies are going to be again a little bit more than an interior or exterior. They're going to be again more prime spots that the cruise line sees in their eyes, because with a balcony now you have access to outside. You are going to have a door, a sliding door that you can open. You can walk outside. You will have your own private little area there. You'll have a couple chairs, a table. You can sit down, drink some coffee with the sunset, or have a piece of pie with the no cup of coffee with sunrise, maybe a piece of pie with sunset, or whatever. You get the idea. You can be out there and enjoy the ocean, the sea, the sound of it, get that breeze in your face. It's very nice to be able to have your private access there, um, on your balcony. Again, because of that, they're going to charge a little bit more. To recap again, you have those three basic ones. You have the interior, you have the exterior, and you have the balcony, and it kind of goes up in price. I think of the Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Uh, you got baby cub, mama cub, papa cub, or no, papa bear, cubs. You get it. The child, the mama, and the papa. Uh, One, two, three kind of goes up, and that's sort of how it is with the cabins. So it depends on your preference. If you want to save money and you're okay being inside, then by all means get the interior. As we said, it's nice to be able to go in there, have a great night's sleep, be able to save the most money. If you get a little claustrophobic and you want to experience outside but don't want to spend way too much, then a happy medium would be that window where you can have access to outside beautiful views without paying a higher price. Or if you see the value, everyone's got, everyone's got different value systems here. If you see the value being able to go outside, sit down in private, take it all in, be out there in the open air, be one with nature, so to speak, then splurge for a balcony. Something similar to balcony that's even more than that are the suites. There are suites on ships as well. Suites are going to cost even more, right, than just a standard balcony. Um, and some balconies, I will say it before I get into suites, some balconies might have an obstructive view, or a window might have an obstructive view. If you see that, an obstructive view, usually you're not going to spend as much. They will knock down some price for that. An obstructive view could be anything from like, you're kind of in access to where the a deck is, and maybe some people are walking across, or they have all those lifeboats that are strung along on the side of the ship in case of an emergency and you need to, abandon ship. There's those lifeboats that you got to get to. Um, they're positioned along the side of the ship, and so sometimes your balcony might have that lifeboat kind of in front of you. It won't completely block your view, but it might be there. Maybe, here's the railing and here's you see um, the lifeboat right on top of it, or coming down underneath it. It's an obstructive view. So because of that, again, prime location, they're thinking that's not as prime. They're going to knock down a few bucks on that one. But if it's an open, clear view, there you go. That'll be the most when it comes to balconies. Suites go up a step higher. With suites, you're going to have different perks with it. Um, you may even have like your own concierge service there, or you might have a suite that's connected to the spa, and because of that, you're going to have spa privileges. They may give you things like certain areas that are more exclusive to you and your family for breakfast, or um, maybe free bottles of water, whatever the case might be. Generally, they come with perks. They're going to be bigger in size. They're going to have bigger balconies. Maybe it wraps around the ship a little bit. It's almost like two balconies in one. The rooms could be bigger. They might have a bigger TV. You might have like a living room and a bedroom, or a couple, bigger windows. The suites are, a lot different. Um, and so if you feel like, hey, I'm going to go on vacation, I want to go out and have a blast, go out with style, you could spring for it. If it's in your budget, by all means, live it up. It is your vacation. So those are our different cabin staterooms. Just wanted to talk about them a little bit. And based on that, um, you know your budget, you know your preferences, what you might enjoy. I've been in one of each. Majority I have done is interior, just because of economical purposes. When I found a deal, I was able to do an ocean view. When I found a deal, I was able to do a balcony. And the balcony, I will say, was very nice. It was nice having it. There's a part of me that felt obligated to go use the balcony because I had the balcony, and I did. But some people, again, they're not going to be in the room a lot. They may just feel like saving the money. Other people, they may want to be in the room quite often, and they want to be able to enjoy the privacy of that balcony. It's all up to you. Either way, if you want to experience one of those, then feel free to reach out to me, j.paradise.travels@gmail.com. You can also look me up on Facebook and Instagram at Jay's Paradise Travels. No apostrophe in there, just Jays, Jay's Paradise Travels. I'll be happy to help you out with that. So that is it. Hopefully, that just kind of educates you a little bit on the different options you have. A little bit of a cruise talk here. Uh, I've had, like I said, I've had some experiences a little bit with it. There's a little bit of experience. This wasn't an episode talking about my experience, anything specific. Just wanted to educate you a little bit on the cabin staterooms itself. One more thing I'll bring up about it. Just again, just kind of going back to that location thing. And generally, when it comes to pricing, in cruise mind's eyes and in a lot of people's eyes, um, the prime location, I guess you could say, would be in the middle of the ship compared to the forward or the aft part of it. That middle ship is what many people feel like it is the best experience, less sway, less rocking. You're a little closer to the activity. You don't have to walk as far. And then as you go up, that is also considered more prime location too. Maybe it's a better view, closer to things that, activities, the food, the entertainment, whatever. So if you were to be on deck, let's just say deck one in the back, that might be your cheapest. Um, and then deck one in the middle is going to be a little bit more expensive. That will probably be the same price as deck two, but in the back or the front. You kind of get that. One other thing I will say too, there is still an interior room, but some of them also have. I mentioned that you could have up to two, but some of them have it where it's just like one bed, or one bed and like um, um, an upper bed, one upper bed, one lower bed. That's kind of how they split those rooms. Never been in that, never needed that, and generally those ones are probably the most economical. I hate to use the word cheapest because that I don't know, that just, you may be okay with that. Sometimes I feel like that might have like a negative connotation, like a person's being cheap. It's almost like an insult. I just like to say it's the most economical. I wanted to at least mention that there are some of those on it. I generally tend to not sell those as much. I want my experience, my clients to have a good, pleasant experience. If you're going to do interior, I think just bringing a little, it's usually not that much more of a difference. Um, and I kind of just joke around, with that one. You're down there rowing with the crew. Just kidding. There's no rowing involved. Um, so I tend to, if for my clients, I want to have a good experience. I want them to have at least the one where you could put the beds together. That's just my thoughts on it. But if you, again, I'll do what customers want. You let me know, and I'll be happy to go with it. Once again, I hope that was able to give you some education on how it works, and hopefully it maybe whets your appetite to want to go on a cruise. And if so, again, reach out to me. One more time, j.paradise.travels@gmail.com. You can email me, reach out to me, we'll talk. Or you can reach out to me, Facebook or Instagram, Jay's Paradise Travels, Jays. Thank you for listening today. And as always, please, if you like this, please share it with somebody, subscribe, give it a 5-star review, make a comment, all those things that podcasters need to keep their podcast going. Really appreciate any and all support. Thank you again, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.